It's sleek, it's efficient, with aerodynamic, low drag styling. All this race car technology has now come together in one car that's street legal. That's an incredible feat.
Hey guys, Chris here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the 1988 Supra build. I did have plans to move fast with this build, but sometimes things just don't go as planned. Either way, I've been stockpiling parts, so not all is lost. In this video, we're going to take a look at all the parts that we've added on. We're going to try to make some progress on the build by swapping out the oil pan with the rear sump oil pan. And we might also try to put on some of the seals and some other components on the engine as well. So let's get to it right now. So it's not just engine parts that I've been stockpiling throughout this whole time. I've also been trying to add some other parts as well. So as you can see here, I have these hatch shocks. These are gonna be a lifesaver. My hatch shocks blew a long time ago. Actually, I think my car came with blown shocks, and that hatch is super heavy. So I'm gonna be stoked when I get to finally put this on. The first thing I want to open is this, because I just got this in today. This is from Auto Extrude. They make custom parts, 3D printed, for the Mark III Supra. So that's an awesome company. I only got one part today, but I am looking to maybe like one or two other parts from them. So let's take a look at what we got here. Ho ho ho, that is nice. Not sure if you guys can see that, but that says Supra right there. That is real nice. So this is the gauge pod that goes over the steering wheel, and this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted it to kind of be like right above the steering wheel. It feels kind of weird, like I've never felt this type of material before. I guess I never really messed around with 3D printed parts before, but yeah, it feels real good. I believe this is the 52mm one. I'm gonna go, actually really wanna test this out right now. So let's go ahead and throw it on the car. Just, you know, put it on there and see how it looks as far as whether it blocks the other gauges by a lot. I know it's supposed to block them a little bit. Yeah, it comes with some screws here. I think you're supposed to use, like drill little holes in it. So let's check that out. Now I got the capped ones at the back. I think it's cleaner than having it open. And the gauges that I'm planning to get are pretty small, I think, or like thin. Let's see. Yeah. Like right there is kind of where I'd be looking if I was driving. It would block like the 0 to 500 RPM range. And it would kind of block like the 140 mile per hour range. But that's really it. I like that look actually. I know it's kind of weird being there, but I like it. Like the other option was to put something in the vent. I know they also sell like generic ones that go on your A-pillar here, but I really don't like those. I like it. This is actually cool. So it looks like it comes with 2 screws at the bottom here, and you take these out, it looks like, and just drill little holes into this. I don't have any gauges to put in there yet. The other part that I got was this carpet here, and I got this from someone. They sell it on eBay, but I bought it off someone off Instagram. This is gonna be real cool because my dash I don't think is cracked yet, and this will protect it from cracking, I hope. But yeah, this is nice. I haven't put the Velcro on and mounted it yet, so that is That is great. The little things. The little things. Alright, so some of the other parts that I got, I didn't show in the last video. I have this here, which is a gasket set for the 1JZ. And like I mentioned in the last video, I'm not going to do the head gasket, but of course I'm going to keep it. It has all the other gaskets I need. Kind of a stupid thing I did though is I got this after I had already got the rear main and the front seals, so kind of have duplicates of that now. So I think, like you can see here, there's some of those. So yeah, I'm gonna have an extra set of those. It's not a bad thing, but if you're trying to save money, I would probably just get the whole set. That way you have everything. I think it's cheaper to get that. I'll put the part number on that in the description down below. Then I got this from Freed Engineering. So this is the bracket for the AC delete. So I think you need to support the power steering pump. So the AC supports it, so this kind of replaces that AC supporting the power steering pump. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Most people like that have JZ swaps, they like fab this, and I'm not like a fabricator or anything, at least not something I've done before, so I might, you know, maybe get into that in the future, I don't know. But yeah, it wasn't too much. This is a pretty cool part. I also got the serpentine belt as well. This one I think I got with that, so I think they came together. I think Freed, yeah, they gave me the belt with that, and this is the belt without AC. Also have these engine brackets here. Now I did get these off of eBay, so I'm really not sure how this is gonna hold up. I opted to save a little money on these rather than getting them off of Drift Motion or CX Racing or something. So these brackets hold the engine onto the stock Mark III Supra mounts down here. I think they'll work. They look like they're pretty good quality. And then of course, you guys see it right here. This big boy right here is the intercooler from CX Racing. These are all the pipes here. Haven't taken them out of there yet. Just want to leave them in there so they don't get scratched up and everything. There's 4 of them. There's also these. Got them in black instead of blue or red. Once again, trying to keep it low key. I might paint the pipes black too at some point in the future. Not sure yet, but for now they're just going to stay silver. And the blow-off valve that they provide with it. I opted to go with the CX Racing one because simply they mentioned in the description that it's for a stock VVTi engine with the stock single turbo. Drift Motion sells a kit also, and the kit says 1JZ with twin turbo or 1JZ with single turbo, and I think the one that comes for a single turbo is like for an aftermarket one. I'm sure I probably could have gotten the Drift Motion one to work, or I could have just gotten the intercooler and try to find the right pipes. It was like probably I think an extra 100 or 150 more than the Drift Motion kit, but for me that's like, it's all there for me. It has everything that I'm gonna need for it. And I think that's pretty much all the other parts. I think everything else I talked about in the last video. Just trying to make sure. So here's the rear sump oil pan. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get this on there today. The guy that sold it to me included some silicone or gasket maker. I think Toyota calls it FIPG. This is a Nissan one, but it should work just fine. And yeah, there's all the bolts for that. So let's see if we can get that old one off. So these bigger ones back here are 14s. These ones on the side and up on this side over here are 12s. so I think you do have to take these bolts off because I think there's some bolts that you need to access that are in there. I didn't really do any damage to the pan. Now that I got that off, it looks like there's 4 bolts on this side and 3. See if there's, nope, there's a hidden bolt under some oil. So there's 4 bolts on each side. They are 12. There's also a spot right here where you can pry on as well, and right here. Alright, so I got this kind of cleaned up a little bit. I spun it around a couple times, drained all the oil as much as possible. And I have the new, well, not new, but the rear sump oil pan. I decided I'm going to go ahead and paint the oil pan, the upper and lower one. I'm just gonna kind of paint them a similar color. Well, actually I'm gonna paint this part the same as the block. And then I'm just gonna paint the lower oil pan black again. I'm not sure if it's gonna be exactly the same black, but it's just gonna be like a regular black type color. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. Right now, I just wanna do a little bit of a quick test fit, and I'm gonna put it on the engine and just kind of leave it there so the engine's not exposed. Oh yeah. Oh, wait a second. Oh. Like, no. Oh, yeah, okay. So I have everything taped off. I'm just gonna wipe it down real quick with a rag and some rubbing alcohol. Then I'm gonna go ahead and paint it. I'm gonna use the same primer that I used for the engine block. And then I'm going to use the same color that I used for the engine block. This cast iron, which is VHT SP997. And then for the lower oil pan, I'm just gonna use a very similar black. I'm not gonna put any primer on that one. And this is actually, it kind of looks like it has a little bit of sparkles in it. Not sure if you guys can see that here, but I just try to get as close as possible. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray paint it right now. Scuff this up to bare metal after I'm done painting it, just so the surface between the engine and transmission are metal. But other than that, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and put on my coat of cast iron. So I let it air out a little bit in here, but I'm still waiting for the oil pan to be a lot more dry before I start putting it on. So I'm gonna start with getting some stuff on the engine taken care of. I might replace these front seals here, as well as I might put the water pump in. So I wanna just try to knock things out while I'm waiting for it and just make some progress on this engine. So I think I'm just gonna degrease a little bit more on this front before getting all this off of here. It's a little dirty around here at the bottom, but I'm not going to be too worried about it. I want to do a little bit. Stupid brush. So I made sure not to damage the crankshaft, like this part of it, but there's a very tiny nick right over there, and I don't know. God, I hate doing these seals. I think it'll be fine though. I think that'll be okay. Here's the new seal. It's about like 97% of the way in there, I think. I'm gonna work on it a little bit more later. But I think it's even in there. It just kept trying to come out on one end. It's a little harder to put in there than the rear main because you can't really get a hammer in there. You gotta kind of do it a little at a time. So a little bit just tighter space there. Let's go ahead and do these top two. So this one came off a lot easier. There's no nicks or anything, so it's good. So there's two seals here, and the only downside to the other kit, so this is how they come in the actual gasket kit that you buy, but you can't really tell because there's no part numbers. Yeah, there's no part numbers on these individual seals here, and the intake and exhaust cam seals look very identical, but I did realize one thing. There's a little green lip on the inside of this one, and that one's 40020, which that's the intake cam. The one that's 38056, that's the exhaust cam. You can tell in here that they're kind of like the same thing. There's like a little green one on the intake one, but they look like the same size, but they're different. So you want to make sure to use that correctly. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in this intake side one. So here's the exhaust seal. Once again, 38056. So I was looking for the gasket for this. This is where the water pump goes. I was looking for it in the gasket kit and I didn't see it, but then I found this like bag sitting on the side, which I think comes with this. I didn't even know. I was like, oh, there. I know I've seen this before. So let's see if we have that little O-ring here. O-ring or gasket, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I think it's an O-ring. I think it's this. Let's just make sure there's no other similar. Let's just get these out in here. Yeah, that is, it looks like it's in pretty good shape, but it was all crusty around here. So I'm gonna put a little rag in here and I'm gonna kind of brush this off a little bit more. I did a little bit already, but I wanna clean that off. And so don't forget the new one is right there. I'm watching my own video of the teardown. And I'm wearing the same shirt, the same pants. What the hell? I was trying to figure out, like, making sure I have all the bolts for the water pump, and I'm watching this part and I'm wearing the same exact clothes. So I gotta transfer this to here, and also this back part. Okay, so there's some seals. So they look like they're both like grayish. And in this kit there was 2 gray ones that are about the same. Yeah, these are the right size. So there's the new thermostat. I don't think it matters. There you go. So this part I definitely needed to get on there before putting on the water pump, because the little neck on the top goes on up here. But this over here, I'm just gonna put it on there kind of snugly, but not all the way, because I might take this off later on and just clean it off a little bit, maybe make it look a little bit nicer like this side. It's really easy to access later on, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this in there. So the last thing I want to do in this video is put on the oil pan, but before that I got the exhaust cam gear on there. I don't suspect I'm going to do anything else with the exhaust cam, so I'm going to go ahead and put the valve cover on it. Now the torque spec for this is like 74 inch-pounds, which is really low, but I just want to button it up, and then I'll put a couple bolts on this side as well just to hold it in when I flip it over. Alright, so the guy who sold me the rear sump oil pan included some liquid gasket from Nissan for me, but it's all like dried up. It wasn't even open, but it's like dried up. It has an expiration date of 2019. So I'm gonna have to go tomorrow to the Toyota dealer, or I don't know where, to get some Toyota FIPG, which is what I should have gotten in the first place. So I'm gonna do that tomorrow. So for tonight, I'm gonna call it a wraps, and I'll be back tomorrow on this one. All right, so it's the next day, and I went to the dealership to pick up some FIPG, formed in place gasket, FIPG. I also picked up a couple bottles of Long Life. So got the full strength, and then I'm just gonna pick up some distilled water whenever I decide to, put the coolant in, whenever the engine's inside the car. So yeah, let's go ahead and put this oil pan on and get this wrapped up. So I think those 6 bigger bolts that are 14s go in the back. Then I have 16 smaller ones. I have 16 smaller ones, but there's 14 holes. Here, let's try to start putting them in. Oh shit. Oh shit. bolt. So I still have 2 extra bolts. So I think I know what those bolts are for. There's 2 studs here. I think this pan was probably used on a different car before, which allowed you to use bolts, but there's studs on this block. So I think that's good. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get the nuts from the old one and put it on there. So after putting on this baffle and the strainer, I was like, I actually do want to torque these. So I know yesterday I said I wasn't gonna get like a small torque wrench, but I did just get one right now. I got this from actually just Home Depot. It's a Husky brand. So it's supposed to be, you know, accurate within 3%. Not that big of a deal for this, just making sure that I'm not over tightening these bolts. Might as well, right? I'm building this engine, might as well get a smaller torque wrench to do the inch pounds and the ones that call for a lot smaller foot pounds. And let's go ahead and do that now. So I have the oil pan. So earlier I torqued down the upper oil pan. Now I'm just gonna do the baffle and this strainer here. All right, so these here were all 78 inch-pounds. Now I'm gonna put on the black, the lower oil pan, and that one's also 78 inch-pounds. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for me on this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you got something out of it. And I have a few ideas lined up as far as next videos. I do want to do kind of like a review video of the Supra before I start taking it apart. kind of like a send-off of the 7M. Might go for a little drive and just give you guys my thoughts on that car. I do also plan to put more parts onto the engine, get stuff cleaned up like the intake and exhaust, and get the whole front buttoned up. A few other things I need to do. I need to put in the hatch shocks as well as the gauge pods. I'm also expecting the bell housing, the clutch, and the flywheel. I already ordered them, I'm just waiting for them to ship. And I also have to work out all the wiring. So those are some of the ideas that I have planned for upcoming videos, as well as I do plan to do some videos for the FRS, and I hope to get part 2 of that garage build started pretty soon as well. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Please smash that like button if this video helped you out, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.